Any questions from the August 10th meeting minutes? Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 2, public safety report.
Good afternoon. There you go. Everyone.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
So, got this. It's pretty simple. I can go over some finer points.
Okay.
Since I'm reinventing the wheel. One of the things I found, we still have high cost of service. And I have to go through manually and count, because I believe that there might be some duplications from the report management system that's counting a couple incidents, a couple of 2 or 3 times. So I think that we're still up. I just questioned, because last month and this month are extremely high. Generally, we're about anywhere from 600 to almost 800 calls, not 1,000.
In a month.
In a month. Obviously, this is part of our busiest time, June, July, August. Just looking into that. But 73 arrests. Still high on motor vehicle thefts. As a matter of fact, yesterday coming back to my office, Officer Henderson had got a stolen vehicle that was over on Territorial. So those are there. DBYs had a couple of search warrants they've done with this drug team. Kind of one case of note was 8-7. There was a rape that was reported, and ultimately a search warrant was executed. We got a gun, some drugs, as well as fruits of that CSC. So it's gonna be a pretty solid case. We're happy with that. Also, I did a bust in Harbor Towers. We did have one non-fatal shooting. 8/14, subjects shot in the leg. Will later reveal that he shot himself. That's not counted against the stats. Quick draw, I guess. Shooting apart. Again, a couple of search warrants. This is on 8:30. They did 2 search warrants. They got 200 grams of meth, some fentanyl, which is very dangerous, some cocaine, and some crack. No subjects currently at large. As far as fire goes, we had 45 incidents, 4 structural fires. Really nothing out of the ordinary there. No injuries. So that was good. I skipped down just without, I'll give him there in a second. Budget-wise, we're in good shape. Right now, we're at 6% under where we would be projected-wise for this part of the fiscal year. Personnel, kind of important to know. We have sent 2 people to the police academy. First week, one of them shredded her ankle, so she had to withdraw. She's a firefighter, so she's still on staff with us. She's not at any risk of losing her job. But this is on a job injury, so she's recovering, and we're waiting for her to come back, get work, and hopefully go back for January. We experienced no cost, so we didn't have to pay for her and lose that money, so we're good there. The other gentleman is doing pretty well. Remember, that's Sincerity you met. He's doing pretty well, passed his first test, big test. So he's doing well from what our reports are. Still working on recruiting. Had one interview today that she was late, so basically she didn't show up. You get 2 minutes, and I'm done. Especially virtual. How you not be on time for virtual? So got really only one person we're looking at. Still doing that effort. Training wise, actually, you see 727 hours. I'd like to really call your attention to at the bottom, Deputy Director Clerk, Fire Master Captains at Fort Worth, Texas, currently right now this week. If you recall, we discussed that they are 2 of 22 instructors in the nation for NFP standard 1700. I believe Deputy Director Clark is on now. And what's interesting kind of about that, and the reason I really kind of stopping here for a second, is that they are learning how to teach firefighters new methods, if you will. With my fingers, new methods. And here's the crazy part. There is a long-standing debate in fire service on certain things. So, we've been fortunate, so the new NFPA standard 1700 that is being pushed out and proposed to fire departments is how we fight fires. So it was natural for us because that's how we do it. So to kind of give you an idea of how kind of silly firefighters can be, there is bigger departments, New York's, Houston's, when they go to a fire, respond to a fire, they don't take in a charged water line with them. So a fire can be going, they go in without a water line. So one half of train of thought is, why would you go into a fire without any water supply? The other train of thought is that that's just what we do, and that's what we do. Really no explanation for it other than that's just how we do it. So there's a big kind of rift on going into a fire with a charge line or without a charge line. We're saying that's the stupidest thing ever. Why would you go inside of a burning house with no water supply? Additionally, with a hose, if by chance you fall into a hole, get into a tight situation, we also learn self-rescue with the fire hose. It's very easy to get disoriented. So we find our way out with the fire hose. Go into a fire with no fire hose and there's fire. So I got a text from Deputy Director Clark that they kind of had some pushback on that, but you would think it would be common sense that you go into a fire with water, but that's probably not it. So, but the good news is, again, they're one of 22 structures in the nation to teach this course. That's where they are now, getting some practice teaching the course as well as learning themselves. Public outreach, we give out 229 smoke detectors plus 70 CO detectors. We are still number one in the state of Michigan. We're giving out smoke detectors, and it looks like we're one by far. Mm-hmm. So, again, it's really amazing, a small community this size, and we're beating as far as, fire, smoke detectors and CO detectors, the Detroit's, the Grand Rapids', the Flints, we're better than that. So I'm really proud of that. Grants are kind of the same part for the course. I'm going to defer to Maurice for his part of the report, and I'd like to talk about the annual stats that came through from the state of Michigan. Then we'll move on.
Good evening, everyone. The code compliance is doing pretty good. We're keeping up with the grass cutting and the debris removal. My office is still taking citizens' complaints daily. I'm trying to attend to those myself. As far as abandoned properties, that process is still ongoing. We don't have any dates or anything set yet for demolition or removal. Permits, we have electrical permits. We have 5 electrical permits for $2,742. Building permits, we have 14 at $3,459.95. One vendor permit was issued for $100, which was a weekly permit. Dump sites. I rode around here recently, and I had someone that's with me to pick up debris from Ogden and Superior alleyways, now in Clay alleyways, Klamath, Catapult, and the 800 block of Broadway, LaSalle, and North Wyoming. So if anyone see anything out there that needs to have our attention, please reach out to me and let me know. The demolition list is still the same with a few updates, but as you know, the county has taken over some properties, and they're selling some of these properties as well for foreclosure and taxes. Enforcement.
Oh, 1 second.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mitchell, to my senior, I forgot to mention this to you, but I needed to have a conversation with us and hopefully the lawyer, because we found in the International Property Maintenance Code that it's illegal to sell a property that's condemned. Well, apparently the county doesn't know that or don't care. So I don't want to kind of get into that now, but that's kind of huge because they have sold quite a bit. A ton of properties that are condemned, burned out, been tagged, regardless of our system didn't have much follow-up, the fact that they have been officially tagged and they're selling them, I don't know if you had any conversation with them about that yet, but
No.
that's a problem.
I did speak out briefly. I had a meeting with the city attorney today, and I mentioned that to him. And I told him that that's something that we need to address because they probably just have another sale either this month or next month. There's another one coming up. So that needs to be addressed like ASAP.
Yeah, I saw this public auction sign on the burn up on, the third ward.
Union, yes,
That
most
I-
definitely.
A million,
Yeah, most definitely.
I would,
Well,
But
So we that's lose-lose. Because you selling property shouldn't be sold, there's taxes on it. If it doesn't get sold, then we have to pay the county back taxes. So we go in the hole, we go double in the hole. I'm not a finance guy, but logically speaking, we're paying for properties that should never be sold, never be on the market at some point. They should be because they're condemned.
especially after they've been condemned.
The attorney and some staff probably need to make also a visit to the county board commission meeting because I think that'd have to be, if it's set up similar to ours, those properties before they sold will have to be paid by the commission. That's something probably could look at too.
Mr. Staff.
So hopefully, if that's in all of the laws, I mean, it's,
Yeah, this could be ugly if we really were to push and pursue this. And that person over there is elected and not appointed. So it's kind of like a situation of with, what do you call it, city manager over there. The county administrator don't necessarily have to listen to him because he's, or she's elected. What is she? Treasurer.
Treasurer.
but they,
All right.
when they dispose of this property, but it's something for the attorney that should be looking at.
Yes.
What needs to happen on our end is that our process be quicker turnaround. At the time of burn, condemn, opportunity to remediate, raised. It's gotta be quicker. Not, because the property we're talking about was tagged in 18.
Yeah.
So that's the process that we gotta fix.
And I think the problem we're gonna run into in the funds, they don't, no insurance.
It's almost all over.
They're waiting because, I don't know if it's, even if they go back, when they go back to they go back into the hands of the county now, it's on them to get them raised because they own them.
That's another conversation that we can have, and I can enlighten you on what we were told on that. Most definitely. All right, moving forward, enforcement actions. We had 117 violations posted on private and residential properties, along with vacant lots. 80% of those were cut by the owner, which was approximately 93, and 24 of those were billed for abatement. Business license and registration, I have one that came through our office. And he was given a certificate. And we also, rental registrations, we haven't had any yet. But certificate of occupancies, we issued out 2 certificate of occupancies. And as far as code and ordinance, it's still under review. That hasn't changed from the housing and the licensing that's required for businesses. And also the nuisance process is still also underway. And that's it from our report, sir.
Quick, just inquire would be the telephone pole, utility pole there across near Union. I haven't been that way a little bit, but last time I went, it was still dangling there. It had the tape around it. But
Is that the AEP pole?
I don't know if it's the AEP or the phone company, but it's
Cross.
its own cross near Union Street. And somebody did put some
tape around it, you know,
Gotcha.
flat it off, but it was dangling and in there for
Okay.
some days, weeks, rather.
Months since the last storm.
We didn't know, but we got the email
Yeah.
and pictures.
I don't know, we sent it to everybody at one time. But, so, yeah, you look at the.
Yeah, I'm writing that down.
Okay.
That information wasn't passed?
Commissioner Henry.
Thank you, the chair. My question to, well, first I'll say, Chief, I wasn't able to open your, had to ask for permission, and you're in here, so you didn't give it to me, so I wasn't able to open your documents at all.
If you would tried to open it, I would have gotten an email that says, when Henry is trying to open. Everyone else that did, I got that from.
Well, you might have got it, but you were here, because I just did it not too long ago. But my question is, can't you just make it public? Can you just make it where I don't have to ask for permission? Just look at it. That's not the way it goes.
Should have been.
Software,
You should have been. Yeah, you should be able to.
beg your pardon?
Yeah, you should be able to.
Okay.
But I still don't have anything from
You still don't have it?
it. It automatically send.
Well, I sent it 3 times, so I'll ask the clerk to help me out.
I got hers. I got his. I got his.
But it's nothing unusual for Commissioner Juanita Henry to get left out of information.
Well,
Oh,
That's
I'm
been
not
going
sure-
on for-
I'm not sure why
That
you're
has
raising
nothing to
voice
do
at me.
with you.
I'm not sure why you're raising voice at me.
I know, but I'm just letting you know, there's nothing that I have always been aced out of information.
I think that's,
you might not be alone.
that's user.
I may not be alone, but I'm only speaking for me. Now, what you speaking on?
I'm asking you, Commissioner, was it a new
Point-
email?
Point
That's
one,
all.
y'all. We-
Now, I'm gonna go back to
Everything
Cody.
is true.
Cody
Yes,
first. That property that we're speaking of, that was burned out, I understand the process, and I understand how, the land bank works. But how could our inspection department not target the trash, the going on that was going on for a year now, over 2 years? When I see they just took the mattresses and throw them over in the front yard. And they're still like that. So where does your department protect us from that kind of shenanigans?
So, Commissioner, right now in my office, I'm understaffed. Every chance I get to go out in the field, I'm out here in the field. So is the other guys that's out here in the field. Now, my plan for that house, I know what you're dealing with. I seen that house. But it's right now, for us to go in there, clean everything up out of there, once I get it cleaned up, it's gonna be right back there, which I get, and I'm working on that. The house, I can't tell you about the house that's before me, but that is something I'm working on. That's part of my list to get cleaned up.
So my real question is, why do we allow other people to come in our community and not abide by our rules? Barron County and the rest of them, I have two lots. They put a ticket on my property, but they didn't put it on Benton Harbors or Barron County. And I have a problem with that.
I do too. I do too.
Well, who's giving the warnings? Who's giving the ticket? It's coming out of your department.
So there are no tickets issued out. If a ticket is issued out,
I don't mean a
a
ticket.
citation, it
Yeah.
comes from me. If it's a violation sign, it's a gentleman that works under me. And that's been addressed. I understand what you're saying. I know what you're talking about. I addressed that.
Oh, okay.
And that is a whole nother thing I'm working on.
All right. Thank you. That is a
So
good thing that you addressed it.
Yes.
It
I
really
know.
was a problem.
following up on that, so what you're saying is if it's a county lot and it's got some violations that a notice will still be put on?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because you do, look kind of strange when you do see that
Of course, I can understand that.
private person.
I have even reached out to the Treasury Department, told them the property that they own, houses need to be boarded up for safety issues. I even called about the grass. When we started grass cutting season, half of their properties that they own, they never even got cut. They'll tell me they're on a cycle of when someone cuts the stuff. So, in my opinion, when the grass needs cut, it needs to be cut. It's no ifs, ands, buts about it.
So
I don't
can
have a problem sending something over.
I'm wondering if, just like we abate
Mm-hmm.
the private, people private, we have to end up abating them,
Most definitely.
then when they bill us for something, we take out money.
Exactly.
They owe us out. So that's something that the lawyer.
Yeah, somebody above me
Let's
had
figure that out. Commissioner,
I'd like to see what the county's bill looks like. Because I know that there has to be some fines somewhere for the properties that are within the land bank of Barron County. There should be, and if not, who's held accountable? That's okay, don't answer that. My question is, if the elected officials, or if in fact, are we privy to see information regarding permits? And my second question is, who, if it's the city engineer overseeing a project like the one that's going on Riverview in front of the apartments, the road tore up and stuff, are we aware of that type of stuff before it happens to know that the road is going to be closed? Do they pull permits for stuff like that? Are we privy to those permits or any others as elected officials? I'm not talking about the general public. Are we privy to see permits at any given time of request, or do we have to FOIA stuff too?
I think,
I never had that question.
Yeah, that question.
I would have to look into that.
Well, I guess, my question would be, so every month is reported permits. So are you talking, what are you talking beyond, I guess?
physically.
I would just like to see what our book of permits looks like.
Can you,
The monthly report is not sufficient.
No, because I want to go back a while.
could you?
I just want to examine our books.
Well, I think for the, with the charter talking about it, for the purposes of inquiry, I think if you, would make an appointment with the, person that oversees that and
Okay.
they get.
I guess my
Just set
initial
time,
question,
take a look.
Chairman,
Yeah.
was, is there a policy or some type of procedure that's in place to allow that for elected officials? I mean, the charter,
Yeah, for the purpose of inquiry.
is there something within the charter? I don't know.
In the charter says for purpose of inquiry, you can.
Okay.
What they cover, and I think if it's something that end up being,
Okay, and,
legally or something, then that had to be discussed.
okay, this right here is a recent one. And I asked the question before it actually happened. We have an alley over here that's torn up. We don't know if it's turned it into a street or what. I don't remember it coming before this body. Was a permit pulled for that?
You're going to get a presentation.
I'm sorry?
You're going to get a presentation.
We're going to get a presentation after the alley has been torn up. After the alley has been torn up, and I, a couple of years ago, made mention, and recently, that it would really look nice with new businesses, for our old pavers that are leaving our community, that they're tearing up, the contractors, and taking to another community. Would look nice in something like that, but there's a policy and a procedure for things. But we, the elected officials, won't hear anything until work has started. They tore up the alleyway. Who gives somebody permission to do that? See, that's the type of stuff that elected officials take flack for.
of somebody getting paid under the table. Is anybody getting paid under a table to allow stuff like that?
Can we stop a second? One, it's not on our topic, but now we're getting back into accusing people. of
No,
taking-
no,
no.
Policies
I'm not
and
gonna-
procedures.
No.
Come on,
You got your
Sheriff.
opportunity.
Sheriff.
Policies
You're talking
and
about us
procedures.
taking bribes.
No,
That's what
You
you
didn't
just
say,
No,
don't take it personal.
I did not
said.
assume,
So
I did not make
you
an
have
assumption.
staff members in place.
Come on, Sheriff.
To do
Order.
Nobody can clarify what I said but me.
Point of order.
So let me make it clear.
Point of order.
Let me be clearer.
Point of order.
It wasn't clear.
Let me be clear.
Don't raise your voice.
Let me make it clearer through the chair.
Not a child.
All right, I have a response. to
If
that.
we don't take into consideration how things are done, because I'm tired of being accused of stuff that I have not done as an elected official. And when we are not mindful of how those that are to report to us do things, then that's the way things look.
Take quick break. Okay, can we do this? You know, because if this. gets-
Okay, but we're
Oh,
talking
no,
about-
No, let me talk.
Okay.
Please. If we get into another back and forth like that.
No,
bring
we're
up
not.
questions, we just adjourn
We're
the
not,
meeting.
but I had-
We would not- no,
I had the floor.
Yeah, but we would not have this shout.
Okay, but you gave me the floor,
Yeah,
sir.
but we won't have shouting.
Okay.
Shouting back and forth. We would
Understood.
not do that. Okay,
Understood.
please.
So may I continue?
Okay, go ahead.
Because my question is, who gives somebody authority before coming to this body for approval by way of resolution, which is policy and procedure, to tear up a street or a road?
I got a response.
You gave somebody approval?
I'll wait till you give me the chair and I'll wait till you're
Chairman.
done.
Okay. You ready for someone to respond?
I already know that it didn't come before us.
Okay.
I would hope that you would ask.
No, are you?
I'm done with that question.
Commissioner, go ahead.
Okay, even before I became a commissioner, I could find out how many permits were issued a month and where they were. Being a commissioner, close to 3 years, I still get that same report. How many permits were issued? I don't get who done them or who did them. But if I wanted to know who applied for them and got them, all I had to do is remember the contractors that I voted on. They're the only ones that can get a permit, unless you're doing something in your house. But there is a report, you can find out exactly how many numbers permits were applied for and how many actually got approved. Sidewalks. I knew about the sidewalks because we voted on the sidewalks, and I don't know if they together. I can't remember if we voted on it together, but I do remember voting yes on the sidewalk project and also the alley project. Now, I'm quite sure I can look somewhere and find out what section is supposed to be started first. But my point on that is, sometimes, we can't all be everywhere. And I know a lot of commissioners have other things to do than I do. So by me walking around, I have a more remembrance of what we voted on and what went through what committee, because it's always in my face because I'm everywhere. But this is what I would like to say in this report, in this point, and I'm done with that conversation. I don't know how I'm the only one. I'm just speaking for me. I know about them. Just me. I know about those permits. I know about the alley project. But this is what I don't know about. This is what I'm quite sure I know. I'm tired of it. Why, when somebody don't know what's going on, it's got to be something underhanded? That statement should never be used. It should never even be a statement made in reference to anybody doing anything. And why am I bringing this up? Well, we can all find out. If you want to go back into the documents of the meeting, you can find out. That stuff gets to be getting ridiculous. I got an email from somebody that was at the meeting last Tuesday. How many of y'all was here last Tuesday? Just raise your hand. I just gotta say this. You was here, it was full. Before we got to the business at hand, it was about 4 people over there. I got an email, 2 or 3 of them, describing what they got out the meeting. And what they got out that meeting, man, are you serious? And you think we taking care of business? Not to the residents I know. I ain't talked to all 9,100. I done talked to a lot. I don't know how many that is. But we need to do this stuff right. And if we don't know something, it's best for us to act and put it out here. I'm quite sure. When I get ready for some information, I go to Mr. Mitchell, I go to Tiffany, I go to Mr. Little, I go to Bruce, I go to the chief. If I don't know that, I go to one of y'all. And if y'all don't know, I go to a resident. Somebody knows something, and we just have to quit going to that point where we're accusing people and all this other. It's sickening.
Okay, now can I straighten this up? Because nobody actually accused anybody of anything. I just said that it basically doesn't look right when this type of even conversation has to even take place. But just like we don't have a resolution or gave approval for the street that's been closed off. If in your search, will you find that for me, Commissioner Edwards?
Yeah, you know, and
Yes, I will.
I think with
I was basically asking about policies and procedures, and if there isn't any, maybe that's something we need to look at.
yeah, but Commissioner, when you, and I have to say this too, when you do, you know, and it could be, I don't know, off the cuff thing, but when you say, is somebody taking something?
I said if.
Yeah, but see, when you say that, it's like setting somebody.
It's not actually accusing anybody of anything. I'm just basically saying that we need to be, it's about transparency. It's about when you have to make up so many excuses and have a long conversation about one word, transparency, then something would seem to be wrong. Yeah, and I get tired of being accused along with the rest of you. And I keep up with pretty much everything
But you do have
for the last 20 years.
you do have the right to inquire, and I would
Okay.
suggest that you go to the departments, you know, start with the
And you
manager,
made
work
it
your way down,
exactly.
and then when you get here, maybe you know you'll have all the answers. You
I
know,
mean-
if you don't, then you know.
It's just like our code enforcement officer. We got an email about a tree that's hanging and he didn't know anything about it, but why he didn't know? I mean,
And did they send the people who made the complaint? Did they send it?
it's not his fault that he didn't know, but it was somebody's job.
Yeah, but-
I'm talking about accountability and
What I'm
transparency.
saying, when you make the report, if you make it to the proper location, you know.
But that's not our job.
No, it's
But
not.
we catch the flack for it.
Whoever making the complaint, you know, they should.
Exactly.
Go to the, if I need a fire truck, I'm not gonna call the ambulance, you know, I'm gonna go call the fire department. I'm not gonna. So it
Depending
is,
on which city you're in, it might be there.
but,
Thank God it ain't us.
Ms. Sandra, you.
Just piggybacking off of commissioners, like, is there, in regards to, I mean, I think she has a valid reason, a valid argument, or not even argument, statement in regards to pulling permits, closing roads, starting construction. I mean, what's the procedure and protocol, and is this something everyone needs to follow? I mean, how do we find out, piggyback on what she said, whether or not a proper procedure has been taken? And who makes the decision? If the body's not making a decision about this, I don't know what alley she's referring to. But if there's an alley being torn up, and what is the procedure in regards to how, when it's supposed to begin, who approves it, things of that nature? Because I need to know that as a person that does development or redevelopment or construction. Like, I need to know what the procedure is. I don't need to know.
Yeah.
So I think the first place to go to and inquire is the code enforcement.
Okay.
Those are the, that's the, those are people that oversee the ordinance.
Let's fix this. So let's back up. So here's what the procedure is. The RFP gets written up and put out. people bid on the RFP. The RFP is, I believe that was go before finance committee, I don't know, but whatever. Those get posted up, they bid on it. In that, their bid, they list all that stuff. The information, once that closes, it goes to the clerk's office. She gets a committee, whoever, to look at them. Then ultimately, who the manager recommends to do the work comes before the commission for them to vote from that bid package. So Tiffany, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't always there from the, all the information we're talking about, that we spent this time talking about, is in that RFP that ultimately gets voted on and approved by the commission to do the work wherever it is. Do I have that process?
I mean, the dates may not be in
The
there,
dates may not be in there.
um,
The scope of work.
but the
is
scope
called.
of work is in all of the
The
dates.
scope of work.
But aren't we able to go
When the last time you
into,
seen a RFP?
aren't we able to go back into our laptop and emails and go through?
But let me address,
Folders?
let me address this though, see, we just talking about what commissioners, but, the average citizen, you know, if they haven't came to a meeting or something like that, if you go back and you see something that's going on that you think you wanna know about, you know, it's work being done, that you know, for a fact that it's probably should be a permit or whatever, then you can go straight to the source, call up the inspector and say, hey, I see some work going on such and such places, you know, do that require a permit, and if one was pulled? And I think, you know, they would either say, hey, yeah, they pulled one, this is the facts, and this is circumstance about it, or if they didn't, he gonna pay them a visit. You know, so this, I think going, when you see something, go straight to the source where that particular item needs to be coming from, whoever enforces the rules of that. So that's real simple.
They just happened to be Wednesday, chairperson, and these projects just happened over the weekend, kind of, sort of, and this meeting don't happen once a month, so I just thought maybe the question was
Well, how about,
a legitimate one, since this is code enforcement and,
but if
you know,
it
public
happened,
safety.
you said it happened over the weekend.
Where's the
What
alley?
about,
Where's the alley? I'd like to know where the alley is.
how about getting on the phone and stopping down Monday and say, hey, get there?
I have other things I do too,
Yeah, but
yeah.
Where's the alley?
I really do. I have a life for real.
You
where's
guys.
this alley at?
Too much going on.
Where's this
I
alley
have
at?
a real life for real.
Between the house, between
I'm not
house two
trying to
and the
bless
law?
other folks, especially in the
Huh?
workforce.
When, if you talking about this one right here,
What alley are we talking about?
I'm trying to find out what,
Behind Cornerstone and the new
Right,
facility.
between House
and-
two.
Yeah,
and the law,
Well, the alley between.
Hounds too. I
yeah,
thought Hounds too was over here.
that's where I'm point well, right there.
The alley,
Between house two and used to be
The new
Steppin's Clothing,
apartments, the new apartments, right?
Steppin's Clothing, then the alley, then house two, and then alley, and then the law.
I
alley
mean,
behind,
if I may, Honorable Chair, we are used to, and I know the policy and procedure and the manner in which developments come before us. And there usually is a presentation, whether it's by way of what doesn't work on our beautiful screen for the residents or through by way of paper. It's passed out and we have an idea of what's going on so we can give our full approval. I mean, I'm very aware of the policy and procedure and the manner in which developments happen.
anybody else? Okay, let's move on to the next item.
I just want one question to ask code inspection. When is grass cutting season over with?
October 31st.
Beg your pardon?
October 31st.
October 31st. Thank you.
All right, item number 3. Oh, yeah, you got it.
You know, at this point, if you want to, I'll go over them. So as you know, last year, when the state published stats, crime stats for the state of Michigan, they knowingly, erroneously printed some false facts. They put a little caveat in the back of the book for us that says, oh, by the way, the numbers on page such as so and so for Ben Harbor are actually not correct, but here's what the correct ones were. So, this year, those stats came out again. Copies for those, even handle them off the same. So, Ben Harbor's the top. I copied this page because it's 69 out of 86. So for us, Ben Harbor's the top. As far as property crime, again, we're down 31%. It's pretty good. As far as our violent crime, we really are flat. So it says a 0.4%, which obviously is not even a full percent. So although technically we're up, like not even a full percent. So we call that flat. So as you see, for our rate is again up at 0.4%, 0.9, and if they do the metric to make it per 100,000. Now, and this is secure cities. Remember, the secure cities are us, well, the ones on here, across the state that are selected for secure city communities. So it's Detroit. They're only up just about 1%. Flint, pretty good. They're down almost 21%. Now you see Hamtramck, they're up almost 16%. Violent crime rate, that is. Harperwood, they're down 9%. And Highland Park's almost 7%. Inkster, 11%. We do have Muskegon Heights and Pontiac that are pretty good gains with being down 17%. So I'm mentioning, I think we're going in the right direction. Again, we want to be at minimum flat with some big decrease, but we're not up, especially the magnitudes that we see some of these with 16%, 11%. So these are more accurate. We didn't have the same problem. The captain who I spoke to for the district was happy with these. And since we ironed out some problems from last year, now we have correct numbers there. So that is that.
Okay. Any commissioner, that what you got
On the report, no, just, from what I've seen now, lately, I just wanna thank public safety for doing what they do. I was reading on the report, the fire, of course, in the building I live in and other stuff.
Commissioner Adams?
Yes, sir, we're on number 3.
No, we on this report here. That you just passed out.
I'm sorry.
We on this report.
I know, I thought that was part of number 3, but
No,
he was just clearing up and clarifying something that happened last year,
Yeah, this was.
a correction.
Uh-huh.
Oh, no, no.
You had a question. Mr. Henry?
Good information.
Mr.
I'm
Tyson?
taking more time to look over it.
Get it.
I don't understand it.
Thank you, Chief. Got any
Yes, sir.
questions later on? I'm sure the chief wouldn't mind.
I do have one question. When they speak of Ben Harbor, are they speaking 4.5 square miles?
That is strictly the city of Ben Harbor.
Strictly.
Strictly.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Item number 3, resolution for the use of permanent public improvement funds for firehouse improvement. For what amount?
Mr. Mitchell, you didn't get this?
What kind of improvement was that, sir?
I ain't just doing it a year.
Damn.
I just want to ask one question before the presentation gets started. I need more understanding about the permanent public improvement fund. I need more information on that so I can understand.
What fund?
Yeah.
Actually,
That's, don't that come, is that from the state? Share, revenue sharing or something? That's through tax.
These are firehouse improvements. You wanna go ahead and?
Yes, sir. So public improvement, so just like when I was on the school board, we had what's called the sinking funds. And that's money that comes in, that goes to the district, that is strictly for buildings and infrastructure. That's all it's for. So the equivalent to sinking fund for the school district is a public improvement fund. There's money that goes to the public improvement fund that's strictly for upgrades of city properties. According to Rhonda, there's money that sits there, but we don't really tap into it a whole lot. So what we've been trying to update the firehouse. We've gotten grants, we got some donations, we got some things that we got. But as far as there's pictures here, the electrical wiring, it looks like it's from the 50s, which I think it is. And the paint above the bay is really messed up, and we suspect there might be that word in that paint. I didn't want to say that. So all we're asking is, and we spoke to the finance department, and there's ample dollars there for the public improvement of facilities. So we're simply asking to have money allocated from that to to paint the roof and ceiling, and to adjust this electrical work that looks a mess.
We have a number amount.
Oh, so we're looking for the actual, let me see, the painting and ceiling is about $8,500. The electrical work throughout the fire department and rewiring or the lights is $18,200. Then there's a contingency fund of $32,700. I suppose if something happens to go over or miscalculate as far as the supplies. So that's what that is. The only thing that I would add as far as this is now, of course, that we're becoming kind of the fire mecca in the area. When people come to, let me also say, I thought before I became a fireman that everyone had the same firehouse, but people don't have. So our firehouse is historic. They don't have fire poles. You have a lot of firemen that haven't even seen fire poles, and we're used to fire poles. That's what we have. So it would be nice. There's only a side caveat when we have all these people coming. Matter of fact, we just hosted a training class for the police side, where people came from all around, from Indiana and Michigan, and we had to walk through the firehouse, kind of wreck. So that's really it. The money's there. We're not trying to raise money or have it reallocated. It's just get that done.
So once the any bids been put out or?
Yeah, so according to this, it says BHDPS tried to obtain 3 quotes for each project, but only 2 painters showed up. Only 1 turned in a quote, and only 1 electrician showed up to quote the job. So we did reach out and try to have people come in and bid on it. I know the city doesn't work with Baldwin, but I don't ever know how to pronounce that. Baldwin.
We do work with.
Yes.
Okay.
So are we gonna die? Gonna get it? No. Would it be nice? Yeah.
It's, any time frame that we're looking at on this?
I just really think it's contingent upon whenever we prove it. If it gets approved. It's not a state of emergency thing.
So is this a concept and everything is, good, but since it's financial, we do have a personnel finance committee meeting that's coming up next Wednesday. I'd like to move this item to the personnel finance committee.
Makes perfect sense.
This is just for, what's the average stay at one time for a fireman to stay in that facility? So I'm fireman, I come in, punch in for the day, 12 hours, that 5 days?
So, in theory,
Excuse me, quick second.
Oh, I can't do that?
Well,
I'll just stay with the 12.
Order.
The reason why I was asking is because, just in favor of the upgrades and the amount of time that they have to sit in there and the stress that they have to go through. I mean, I'm all for it.
I am too, but just, it's a financial thing that I would like to see go to the personnel finance committee.
Oh, yeah.
That way we can get more information about PPI, we have a finance person to be here and can kind of discuss where those funds come from and what they, how they can be used and stuff like that. So that's my reason for moving it to
Thank you, Chief.
Yeah.
personnel finance.
Right.
All right. Oh, yeah, questions on this?
Do I look like somebody? Oh, well, thank you. Yes, please. I'd appreciate it. Thank you, Chairman. I would just like for this body to keep in mind something that I requested, and I thought that everybody knew that we had something just like the school sinking fund that would fix the outside of the people's building in here. But actually, I think that we need to be considering building a new fire station, spending hundreds of thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on new engines. And of course, over the course of the last 8 years, we've done some repairs and stuff, but at some point, it's just like the old boilers at the high school. Some things play out, including buildings. And I think that it's time that we start seeking federal dollars to build us a new facility overall and something upgraded for our fire trucks and our firemen. On a serious note, and as big as Mercy Hospital was, we could take ownership back into our own jail system to ensure that our people are getting treated fairly for some of the stuff that I've heard and, personally from inmates of Berrien County. But I think that that's something that we really need to consider, building a new facility, a new Wilsie Cook municipal building on Mercy property. Something that would house 4 fabulous big fire trucks that could help other communities instead of them coming to our aid. And I'm hoping that we can take a look at that, because for too long, we leave out this chamber and residents come in, and we ain't even got anybody to clean up around here. We got a code enforcement. I'm gonna give somebody a violation for the way the elevator look. At some point in time, things need to be replaced. And there's no better season upon us with who's in charge federally for us to go after some dollars to build a new facility. Because this one probably full of lead too. And maybe we can utilize that, as well as asbestos and other contaminants that we can use a federal brownfield. Okay, all right. I'm done.
Whoa, I was wondering who was in control of here.
Totally agree.
Actually, it's right.
I don't know about the spot, but I totally agree.
I just have one thing to add to that. The front of this building, as you come in, the way the stairs are falling apart in the front. Since we can't do one job, we should do another job. We should patch it up. Do something to it. You guys enjoy it every time you come here looking at that? You guys don't say anything about it. But week after week, we come in here, y'all get paid, go home. And the citizens, all of y'all get paid and go home. And the citizens have to come and look at the same thing every time we come here. If it was Whirlpool, y'all did that. Why can't we do something for ourselves? Why do you have to go through all of this? My grandmother used to call it rigmarole. I know it's laws and bylaws and things you have to write. But you don't have to write nothing to fix that out in the front. All you have to do is have somebody to take care of it. Y'all get grants all the time. Why you can't write it into a grant to get it fixed if you don't want to fix it yourself? You don't want to fix it. You don't want to fix it. You don't want to fix it. Citizens want it fixed. I do. And I'm speaking for myself. We complaining when we say something like I'm saying. That's why a lot of citizens stop even coming over here with y'all, talking about our complaining ass. But we have a lot to have concerns about, and you diss us. But I thank you for my 3 minutes.
Man, you got a plan for that, those steps?
Oh, y'all whispering, I can't hear y'all.
They said,
Yes, we have a plan.
all right. Update on park and recreation.
One. On this, the $3,200, I never seen that before. Is that standard operating? Usually when there's a change order, they have to put in a change order. So I never seen this kind of, maybe it's something I missed or how does that, a contingency fund for unforeseen repairs? I've never heard of anything like that, and I need somebody to explain to me why a change order can't be put in or whatever. I'm talking about the permanent public improvement fund for the fire department improvement. There is a $3,270 will be used as a contingency fund for unforeseen repair. I just need some understanding, because I don't understand it, not in my brain.
That means once they start, if they find something.
I understand that, but I've never seen it put in a document. It's always been a change order process where they come to whomever and say, this is the change order. I've never seen us just say, well, here's $3,000 that you might need. I don't understand that. That's not the way standard operating procedure goes. There's a change order. So if you can't explain to me why the change order and why we have $3,270 on a contingency, it is,
That is standard operating procedure.
what happened to the change orders?
Might not need,
What you mean you might not need it?
might not need.
Then how will we hold these, how will we be accountable for this $3,000 if you don't put a change order in? They just say, well, oh, we had to go rent a jackhammer or what? What? How do they get the money if they don't put a change order in?
When they put the change order in, that's when they get.
So once if they find something, then they'll say, hold up. So we found this and this is what we need to do. And someone's gonna need to fix it.
I understand that. That's the way it usually works. But I have never in my term here seen something that says this. And that sets up red flag. Don't make me say that I feel like something's being done to me. Because that set up red flags for me, so I need to understand. Now, if it said change order,
It's not a change order until you get it, the contingency is there in case.
So contingency would be,
how do we hold them accountable for that $3,270?
they have to put a change order in.
I'm asking, you asking me?
Yeah, you actually, yeah.
Are you telling me you asking me?
No, wouldn't that make sense that they would have to put a change order in if they find something?
Yeah, I think that, but this line here don't say that. And I found in government, if you don't say it, it don't mean. So I'm having a problem with the wording, the contingency part of it. Now, yes, it said change order, I've seen document after document since I've been here, that said change order.
So if you would say, for 3,200 for possible change order, that make more sense, or is that, I don't know.
I'm just having a problem.
Contingency is a standard operating procedure.
Well, it's just something new to me, and so I will do my research, don't think I won't. I need to know exactly what's being done with that word, because words mean a lot. So I'll do the research before it comes to the body. I surely will, you know I will be the first one to tell you what I Googled up. Thank you.
Park Recreation, got anything?
Thank you, just a quick review, I just want to mention this, and a guy named Jeremiah, older guy, I don't know his last name. He, from my understanding, he used to work for Robinson Brothers.
Yeah.
So he's the older guy, so you know what I'm talking about. I would just like to make it, official that I'm just kind of acknowledging him. He does a lot of cleanup at, Union Park. He didn't come to me and let me know. It was just the times I used to see garbage out there, and I would see this guy from riding by. Never knew who he was, so I finally found out who he was. His name is Jeremiah. I don't know his last name, but I'm not saying he does it every day and every time, but he does it more than. I'll just leave it that way. Other updates. So there. I don't know, commissioners and employees, you got your emails, I don't need, that's good there, right? Okay. Farmers market is going good today. Yeah, so quote unquote officially without public health, with public health, that ended the day. Without them, I think there's like 3 to 4 vendors who will come next Wednesday. That's minus Baron Health out there. Okay. I don't know, I'm still looking at, as far as the redoing of, I get a lot of people asking me that, the redoing of City Center Park, the other pavilion, they're asking me why there's no big old rocks out there and stuff. So those rocks, from my information out there, so when they do start building, they can block off traffic from coming through there. So it's kind of good for them to avoid interrupting the farmers market, because according to the plan, they was supposed to have started. But I thank you for that much. Also, we are getting a lot of people who are pulling me over the side, saying, how come we don't get people to clean up the parks? And my statement is going to be the same. And that is, find out how many employees that work just for the park. That's 1. 2, find out how much public safety has to do that they don't necessarily have to do. They help clean up. Public Works, find out how much they have to do. You want the parks clean, you go out there, help me do it. Give me a call, I help. That's an update. You want it done, give me a call. It can be 2 in the morning. If you feel safe in going to it, give me a call. I'll meet you out there with rakes and all that. We clean it up. Spread that word around the whole 09022. Any other update? There was supposed to have been an Oktoberfest with the hay and all that, but we couldn't get in touch with anybody. So that was never announced anyway, and I wasn't going to mention it until I know for sure if we can pull it off. Can't do that. Other than that, y'all be safe. Hey, enjoy your parks. Just when you go there, just take your trash, throw it in the garbage. Also to Mr. Duncan, the trimming of the trees on those steps where you fish out at Yarborough Park, those are the ones that you said you wanted to trim down. Yeah. So we did trim them down last year and they did grow up. We had youth workers trim them down. It's kind of something that kind of slipped by us this year. But I'll try to get it done for the winter, but definitely next year.
But that's good. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Mr. Dunn, give your reply.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm glad somebody else is taking some interest in the park on the river. There's 7, 8, 10 guys within the last 20 years, and most of us are gone now. But the river would have been closed down a long time ago if we hadn't, I'm saying we don't never say, they call us river rats, but we had sense enough to know how to keep the river for ourselves. Otherwise, it would have been gone by now. And you know where it would have went. But you give all of those guys credit. If you don't give me none, give it to all of it to them, because we kept the river, and I'm proud that we kept it, because I know what would have happened to it by now. Mickey Yarborough, he wouldn't have meant a thing by now. And I think it should always be in his name. I don't think it should ever change, and I think you guys ought to put a resolution out to make sure that name don't ever change. And thank all of them brothers who kept the place from being a dump, which they planned on making it a dump. That's why we started cleaning it up, because we could see that's long range thinking, and it came true. So thanks for the time.
Someone else had a question on that?
Oh, I just had a question in regards to,
You gotta recognize. Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Cassandra, did you have your hand up?
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you pointed.
Go ahead.
I know we had, in regards to the River Fest, when we were talking about the lights that were out down there, has that been?
Running water.
Yes, in
no.
fact, I was talking to, I think, I mentioned it to, Commissioner Singleton, Mr. Mitchell, Mr. Little, some other officials, when we were out there for, if I'm not mistaken, it was Yarborough's Memorial.
Mhm.
Even though that was in the daytime, we had a River Fest night. And I mentioned it that we did need more lighting, even if all those lights out there are working, they're on the edge of the park. And I understand
Oh,
what
I
you're saying.
understand. Okay, so did you guys did have the light bulbs? Did you guys?
Well, I'm going out there tonight.
Okay.
I've been playing at me and Teddy Bear, some of y'all might know him, Teddy Smith.
Mhm.
So we've been playing that music at the river. This will be our 4th Wednesday. So this will be the first time we're out there at night, so I really can't remember how many lights were on. But I'll let you know. But I will say this, I did see AEP going up and down the street and some other streets replacing all the lights. So I can't say if they did Union or not. I mean, Yarborough or not.
Can I, one more thing that
Yeah,
I forgot to say?
Yeah.
I have one more.
You go, let her.
In regards to the camera system that was approved for the city, what's the timeline or time frame for the install for that? Do we know, or is just?
Supply
Approved.
chain,
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay. That's it. That's all. Thank you.
The other was a concern of Commissioner Henderson, which was a good concern. This is 2022. She asked that we look into the broken swing. There's a broken swing. I will be going out there tomorrow. There's a broken swing, supposed to be. I don't know if it's one
Been
swing
broke
or
for a
all
long
of them.
time too.
Gene Clark Park.
Oh, yeah.
She said it needs repaired. Also, she was asking about the status of the buoys. Deputy Clark, though, stated that finding companies to put in that taking them out is current obstacle. So I would take it that Deputy Clark was looking into it, but he says there is obstacles in getting that done. So I'm taking that he's still looking into it, but that's his report. He's looking into it, but it's not like he can just get it done, but he is looking into it. Also, Commissioner Henderson mentioned about the accessibility of a kind of, I guess you can call it accessibility walkway I looked at some, but I will be going to visit a couple of other beaches just to get an idea. I'm quite sure it's simple, just basically putting a walkway. But there are a couple of beaches who not only did they just do a walkway, they kind of made it look like, they kind of made it look kind of, added a little decor to it. So it doesn't just stand out, oh, it's just for them, one of the type of things. You know how we are, that's reality. So I will be looking at that. I'm far just looking, trying to get some ideas on that. Other than that, that's where we at. Oh, people asking why we can't do nothing at Hall Park. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be redone. Ox Creek is being done. There's not much electricity. It would take more than what we think than just going out there and say, let's do something. It's not like we could go to River or City Center. We got a bunch of plugs. We got all that. It's not that simple. Other than that, that's all I have for today.
I'd just like to add to, or basically request, I'll get to you this. That we get a hold to the, Harbor Shores,
Yeah.
and we need to have them come to a meeting. And,
You're right.
and we haven't heard from them in quite some time now. I know COVID and all that stuff, but we haven't heard from them. And like to just get, what's going on. And we have some suggestions. They have some suggestions, but we need to have them. We used to have a meeting, I think, once a month or something. And for the Harbor Shores, because it was some.
That's the case of doing their part as far as maintenance.
Maintenance.
Yeah.
And then
What you said, I'm sorry.
It's concerning Harbor Shores sticking to their agreement as far as their part in maintaining Gene Clark Park. How much, what did they gotta do?
It's a court order.
No, I'm not saying that. I got that. I'm just saying that's what we're looking into. What is their responsibility? That's the reason for the meeting. Hey, what are y'all doing? Da, 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 da. This,
It's a court order. So you ought to know what they need to do, because it's in the order. You ain't got to ask them, just make sure that they doing it.
Commissioner Henry.
Get the court order, and then you'll be way more ahead than sitting and asking dumb questions, because you'll know what the court order said.
Commissioner Henry.
here we go with the
Thank you very much.
offensive again.
Hey, can I say something offensive?
Go ahead.
Man,
Go ahead.
y'all keep getting off track. Y'all got the city manager here down. I need one to come up here. You guys doing all, helping the parks. We ought to get everybody together, the police chief and everybody else, and get some running water in Mickey Yarborough Park. Could get a couple more bathrooms down there too. We asked for those. Why is it when the citizens ask for something, it's a complaint, but when Whirlpool come and ask for something, y'all can cheese up and go get it for them?
Is that in
I wasn't really talking to you.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking to the chair. Now, if the chair want to give it to you, then if it'll get the water down on the river, I want to hear him. If it ain't, I'd rather hear from him.
Let's start with him.
Let's start at the top all the time. Stop giving other people the chance to answer, like the mayor answering questions for the city manager. It looks bad on YouTube. Now, proceed. I'm sorry.
Mr. Manager, any comments on getting some water to the park, specifically Riverview Park?
You mumbling. I can't even hear you.
Come talk to him.
No, you got to talk to everybody. I want everybody to hear what's going on in here.
Mr. Manager, you got any comments on that?
Well, got the toilets. You have
How many did you get
2.
for thousands of people? But go ahead. Go ahead. I appreciate the
But
two.
you had more than that for the festival.
Yeah, you should have left 2 extra ones. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I ain't trying to cut you off. Speaking of the water, when we gonna get running water out there?
I can't tell you.
You can't tell us. Well, then maybe you guys need to tell him to get some running water down there. He can't. He does things when you ask him to. I heard you guys say 5 of y'all say do it. It had to get done. I heard y'all say that. Now I'm just a citizen will listen. But I think if you five commissioners come together, especially with Mr. Ison, I asked him to champion this, and he did, and of course, you guys really don't want to talk about things like this, just like you didn't want to talk about when the last city manager called us citizens need what citizens need. We needed the buoys. I hear something over here today, and I don't think it had nothing to do with what y'all was talking about or trying to do, but I listened to it. But still need the buoys. I really need that letter they sent you.
Clark.
Huh?
Clark.
Clark?
Clark.
Well, y'all could have told me Clark 3 weeks ago. I went to Clark.
Oh, I asked him for it.
Did he give it to you?
Not yet.
Okay. Back to the water on the river. Y'all make another promise to me. Get 5 of y'all, and I believe in y'all. But until y'all do something for the citizens, like something as simple as put some water down there where we can wash our hands. We all in the fish. We all in the bathroom. 2 bathrooms. A lot of people. Y'all not thinking for us. And it's been a long time I've been asking, would you guys like for me to bring some citizens down here with the same concern? Because I wish I could bring 5 commissioners to do it. But if I can't get 5 commissioners to do it, and I'm practically begging you, but I ain't begging you. I said practically. But citizens are taking no mess this year. You tell us something when it's time for us to vote for you. Tell us something about the water on the river. Tell us about a bathroom put up there or 2 more porta potties. You like porta potties, don't you? I do too. When it's time to go, you gotta go. So all winter, because we on the river all winter. Thanks for hearing me out. But hearing me out is one thing, and doing something about what I'm asking is something else. It's been a long time asking for things in here, and I've seen one citizen after another come and ask for something and get straight dissed out of the picture, and nothing gets done, and y'all keep getting paid.
No, I just was wondering what he's, just in detail about what he's referencing. So there's no water at the river?
Can I answer that for her?
No, she got her flu. She got the flu.
No, I'm done. I'm asking what he's asking about. So I mean.
Water fountain.
So no, there's no running water. I hadn't.
No, there's no park if there's no running water, but they call it a park, Mickey Yarborough Park, and I love Mickey.
Okay.
There should be water there. It should have been there. Shouldn't have to be half-ass begging for it, trying to get 5 of y'all to do it.
Madam Clerk.
Mr. Duncan, Deputy Director Clark said that he will get that to you when he comes back from his training in Texas.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Commissioner Henry.
I have,
You know something? You ain't said nothing.
Um,
You don't know what
I got
that-
a
you
big
don't know
gun on
what
that.
you know.
Commissioner Anthony.
Thank you. Jean Clark Park is definitely being neglected. It's not just those things that Commissioner Henderson saw. Handicap parking is you can't determine where it is behind the shower. The women's shower didn't work all summer. It leaked all summer. So we really need to put an emphasis on Jean Clark Park. Any part of the city that bring in $200,000, we need to take an interest in. And we don't have to feed it. It works for us. We really need to take an interest in it. And I don't see it. And I hear that the city our chair is going to start having that conversation with Harper Shore. And that's a good idea. Porta potty. There's a park that gets used every day that don't have a porta potty. The City Center Park don't have a porta potty. Now, is that by design or by neglect? What happened? No porta potty.
Can I answer that?
No. Okay, I'm gonna also make another statement about
One is there.
pulling the weeds up on the river, on the lake, around Jean Clark Park and any park in the city. Japanese knapweed. You cut it down and it grows back 2 times bigger. And it will grow underneath your foundation and will pick your basement up, let alone cut all your circulation off in your drains and anything else. And it's in our community.
Those pipes.
And so when you go and cut it down and it comes back double, triple, that's what's happening. I just looked on the site from Michigan. They're looking at the weed that we got up at Jean Clark Park.
Invasive species.
Yeah, so now we have to be aware of these invasive species. And instead of us cutting them down, we have to eradicate them. It's all over. My neighbor's house, the fence just broke down because of these. And they're pretty, big old flowers on them, but they'll tear your foundation up.
In your basement.
And also those vines, so we try to keep them off of the
Drag Max.
stairway.
Yeah,
Yeah, cause when we first started, they covered that whole.
Yeah, they grow fast.
And
You
they'll
couldn't even
kill-
see the
they'll
stairway,
kill
you just
anything
do.
that's living.
Yeah, so we, cut them down there a year.
So,
Yeah.
so
I did talk
since you did take on the parks, and I'm glad you did, somebody had to. So, that's something that you need to look into. I'll send you that email that I just got from the state. And, if there's money, I love it when it's money for us to do what we need to do and involve the citizens. So of course, you know that I will help you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think you're true.
Do we get a porta potty in Center City?
Oh, city center, I'm just,
One ready.
he did, I see Mr. Mitchell did write that down, so I've seen.
Did you have another?
Mm-mm.
Another lady?
It's that,
Okay.
One last thing.
Go.
They get to take care of the park, the maintenance of the park. Got a contract for how many years?
Commissioner Henry, you talking about,
105,
what was that?
Oh, y'all don't know that, commissioners?
105.
105.
Y'all don't know that, boy, y'all is green.
Let's go to the deed.
No, I'm glad you guys finally found out. That's what I'm happy for. Because when, I've never known anybody get a contract for something for 105 years. Have you, Mr. Chair?
I wouldn't have did it, but.
Have you, city manager, through the chair?
But,
You gonna ask him or not?
but.
I asked you, and I'm asking through the chair to ask the city manager, has he ever heard of anybody getting a contract like that for 105 years?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
well, that's good. I bet you they did more for it than what's happening at Gene Clark Park. How much running water is at Gene Clark Park? You know, Mr. Chair?
I don't know.
Do you know, could I, through the chair, ask, does anybody else know?
Anybody else know
Is there what,
how much running water in Gene Clark Park?
how much running water is Gene
How many
Clark Park?
water fountains are
Oh, how
in
many
Gene Clark
water
Park?
fountains? One, I know of for sure, two that I know for sure. I don't know if they work, I never went to drink water from them.
No. That's why I'm asking, if they're there, people been drinking out of them, y'all don't even know they're there, or you know there's two, and people still drinking out of them, or you don't know. if
No,
they're
that water
drinking
good.
out
I know that water good, so I just never been there long enough to see nobody drink water.
or not. Well, I don't think that's
Yeah, I just,
correct,
all right.
that is good, but
Right.
I've only seen one water fountain at Gene Clark Park. I don't know where the other one is. Maybe it's up on the dunes or somewhere, or over on, as you come into the park, maybe one there. I didn't see one there either. But that's a question. A lot of people go there. There need to be water. There need to be plenty of water. How could we have a water treatment plant and have a problem with water? And other people in the world having problems with water, like Kentucky and other places, and we don't have a water treatment plant that could help other people. I guess once they get rid of gentrification takeover, we'll be in the same boat, somewhere needing some water, but we'll be missing what we had because we didn't do what we were supposed to do with the water that we got. No reason for people to be thirsty. And we can help. Is that something that you guys thought of or doing something about, or maybe I'm off track? Through the chair.
Through the chair to Mr. Manager. Any comments on it?
No comments.
No comments. I understand that, NY. So just let it drop. Let it drop. I'm good at letting things drop. Like I'm getting trained to do that. Like you guys, just let it drop. Like you guys let it drop about the commission, the mayor calling us a name.
Yeah.
Y'all drop that too. I ain't forgot it.
All right, I'd like to thank
Call us
everyone,
niggas and
everybody for their comments, and this meeting is adjourned.
thank you.
I'm good.
I know